Hello everybody. We are going to talk about how do you get animation from one character to another. So we're just going to use some built-in assets for this. This is the mocap basics character here, and we're going to transfer all the mocap that came with this guy over onto this other character that you can get in the marketplace. It'll work for any of these because they all share the same skeleton. So we're going to go and set that up. First, if you need to grab these assets to follow along, just jump over to the marketplace. You can grab this guy, just search for Kwong. And also, if you just go back to the home, get rid of that, put in mocap, and you want to grab, let the search happen there, hit the free button, and then just grab this MCO mocap basics little pack there and drop both of those in your project. So once you have them loaded into your project, I just have the map here for the character to see our different choices here. Then I also have the overview from the mannequins here just to also see what their, let's flip that over here, just to see what the choices are that you can play with. So this is just a little sampling that they provide as a map for you so that you can see what the different animation cycles are in this mocap pack. So let's stop playback there. Let's go shopping for which character we want. So I think I'm going to go ahead and roll with this guy here. So I'm going to right click, browse to asset. That is Mr. Sunrise here in the pack. I also want to double check, right click, see what skeleton he's using. And as you can probably assume, he's using the same skeleton as all his friends here. So 5 is a little bit different for setting up retargeting, actually quite a bit different. In the past, you would have double clicked, opened up the skeleton, and somewhere you would have gotten the retarget menu and opened that up and started doing some bone matching, and you might come in here and go like, what the heck, it's not here anywhere. That's because it's different in 5. So let's talk about that. What we need to do is create 3 different assets in the end for this to work. 2 for the characters and then 1 to match them together. So let's just do it. Right click in here. I'm going to go to animation, and we need to use this asset called an IK rig. This node can do way more than what we're going to do with it. You can actually create an IK rig with it. You can check the docs for that, or I'll make a video later about it. But for now, we're just focusing on retargeting animation. So grab this, the IK rig. It's going to ask you what mesh do you want it to go with. So I'm going to pick Mr. Sunrise, and I'm going to name it. And this is this fellow's IK rig. So we're going to name it appropriately and double click this. So whole new interface here. If you're new to 5, this is new anyway for you, but if you're coming from 4, this is quite a bit different. So let's start looking at what we need to do here. Rather than doing a one-to-one bone match as you would have done in the past, you create these chains of joints, which is actually kind of handy. So let's start with, for example, here the spine. So I'm going to select these 3 spine bones, right click. I'm going to make a new retarget chain from selected bones. And it's going to say, all right, it's going to call it spine 01 because that's the first start bone, and it's going to go to spine 03. If you want, you can rename this. Totally fine. It's probably a good idea to rename it so that matches up. You want to get a good naming convention so your 2 different IK rigs from different characters will match properly. I'm going to show you what happens if you don't. It's fine-ish. It's fixable. I'll show you that on the other character. I'll make this one make sense and the other one won't, and you'll see what happens. So let's say we got a spine here, and that adds here. We got a spine chain. And we've got, let's see, from clavicle to upper arm. I'm control clicking here to the hand. I'm going to right click and make another chain. This is oddly named, right? Like clavicle L, that doesn't really, I'm going to rename that to left arm. And then, let's see, what else do we need in here? We need, this arm needs to have a chain made out of it. So same thing, and this is the right arm. So we'll call that right arm. And you're going to say, this seems like a bit of a process. It is, but that's fine. The neck joints, I'm going to create, let's call that neck. When I do the other character, I'll show how you can do this a little faster. You can multi-select to do more than one at a time. Also need to do the head. Just doing it one at a time here to be nice and thorough. What else? I need some feet. So we've got from the thigh, calf to foot. Set that chain. We'll call this left leg. Sorry, it seems like a little slow process, and it is. You can probably like play this in double time if you want to speed through. Another chain here. We're almost done. Well, kind of. And we'll call that right leg. So we got these 7 joint chains. So spine, neck, head, and then the 4 extremities. And he's good for now. So I'm going to hit save. Almost good for now. See where it says retarget root? That's usually going to be your pelvis. So let's go all the way up to the top, grab the pelvis, right click, and set that as your retarget root. Otherwise, the retargeting gets a little floaty. So let's save that. All right, so this guy's done. Okay, now I got to do the same thing for this character. And I'm going to show you some speed tricks on that. So I'm going to go to the asset. In this folder where the mannequin skeleton is, I'm going to add yet again an IK rig. This is for the skeleton of the mannequin. Good old Manny. All right, and then same thing, but let me show you a slightly faster way, kind of depends on what your hierarchy is. So I'm gonna skip. I don't want it to make a complete chain of those, so I'm just gonna stop at well, I'll come back for the spine. Let's do clavicle, arm, hand. That's left side. Clavicle right to the hand. So I'm holding control to multi-select again. I'm going to do the neck, but not the head, because I don't want the head part of that chain, so I got to leave it separate. I got to come back and pick it up later. So calf to the foot, calf to the foot. And I think that's enough for now. So right click, new chain. It's going to work through each of those chains that I just selected. Now, like I said, I'm going to leave the name like this so they don't match, and we'll see what happens. And then I'll show you how to fix it. So say sure, clavicle R to hand R, sure, neck, sure, thigh to the foot, yep, thigh to the foot, yep. And now I got to go pick up the other 2. The head, leave that head, and what was the other one I missed? Oh, the spine. So let's grab the spine. We'll call that spine 01. Well, it'll be, this will be interesting to see what works and what doesn't. So, and you know what? I'm also going to leave, well, I'll just set it while I'm here. If your characters are doing this weird pelvis floaty thing when you retarget, it's because you didn't set this. I just want to set it while I'm here. So hit save, and now this character's done. Okay. So this character and this character have been IK rigged. Now what you need to do is, if you want this character's animation to transfer to this character, you need to use the 3rd asset that we need to create. I'm going to create it just like in Unreal. You can put these things anywhere you want. You can make it as big of a mess as you want in Unreal. I'm going to put this particular node with this character, since this character is the source of the animation. So I'm going to right click, go to animation, and I want an IK retargeter asset. Which rig are we copying animation from? That is Manny, the Manny rig. Okay. And I'm going to name this F2, a little handy shortcut there. This is the Manny. So I'm going to double click. And here's Manny, because that's what we picked as the source. I'm going to target now my Kwong rig. And then you get him right next to him. So this allows you to kind of preview your animations and see how your retargeting is working in this interface, which is actually great. So here's a list of all our different animation cycles. So let's go straight to jog in place and see what happens. So I'm going to double click, to do that. We've got a problem here. We've got a few problems. It's kind of working, kind of, but there's also some big problems going on. So if I had matched my names of my IK rigs chains exactly, this wouldn't be a problem, but it's fixable here as well. So what's happening is, if you go to this tab here that says chain mapping, this is where it's trying to automatically match. So here's my target. So this is the chain name for this guy, which I did first. And these are the chain names for the mannequin. It's trying to auto match. So spine to spine, it found that okay. Left arm to head, I don't know why it thought that was the right one. It doesn't even have an L in it. But all you have to do is say, oh, left arm. That was my clavicle left chain on my mannequin. And then just to see. So now that arm's looking a little bit better. All right. Let's see what right arm should be clavicle R. Better. Neck to neck, head to head, left to, well, they got the L right, but it's not clavicle, it should be leg. But, you know, how's it supposed to know leg and thigh are the same thing? Then right leg to right thigh, right? And now when we hit play, he's looking a little better there. All right, not bad, not bad. Okay. So now that we've matched up our animations, we can double check another one if we want. So I'll double click this one. Okay, so one thing I notice, it's looking like the base poses aren't exactly the same. It looks like this guy's hands are a little closer to his body than the mannequin by just a little bit. So that's probably an A pose thing. There's probably a better way to do this, but a way to reset that quickly. I don't have a T pose handy, so I just say clear that out, kick them out really quick, and then bring them back so I can see their T pose or A poses. They look almost identical. If I'm looking at the angle, they are really close. I'm not sure why they're, I mean, it's just, this guy's a little skinnier too, right? So this is something to be aware of, especially if you have a T-pose character and an A-pose character, then you really need to fix this here. And in 4, you would have done it somewhere else. But here, all you need to do, like say I do want to modify his arms so that they are just a little bit higher than this guy. Just say edit pose. It lets you have access to the controls here, or the skeleton of this character. And I can grab, say, the shoulder. I can lift it up. Oh, I'm going to turn off snapping here. So you can lift that up just a little bit there. Just a little bit there. And then hit that button again. Oh, nice. When I kicked him out and brought him back in, that reset my mappings here. So there's probably a better way to do that. Is instead of, I should just have a T-pose handy. That would make it a little nicer, but I don't. Neck to neck, head to head, left leg, and right leg. Okay, now we're back. So see, now his arms are sticking out a little bit more because I built that offset into my edit pose button here. So sometimes you need to make minor changes. Sometimes you need to make bigger changes, again, from like a T to a A pose. All right, so I'm going to say this animation looks pretty good. I can, now this hasn't done the retargeting. This is more like a QC check, quality control, making sure it looks good before you finalize pushing it out to the other character. So let's say this is the only one that I want to send. I could multi-select and do all of them, but just for starters, I'm going to click on this button here, export selected animation. It's going to say, where do you want it to go? I'm going to go into this character's character hero character animations folder. It's a good place to go, so I'm going to send it there. And there it goes. If you want to double check, make sure it went there. I'm going to go, oh, it actually, because I picked that folder, here it is right here. So here's the animation loop for that character. And I can see that he has his own asset now for the animation that you can use in your sequencer now. All right. That's kind of the basics of how you would retarget animation. If you want to stick around for a second more, I'm going to do another pass to show you, because you're probably thinking, oh, that's fine. This character is almost exactly like that character. How does this work when you have characters with different proportions? And that's where this shines. So I'm going to bring in another character from scratch here to show you the setup for that. So this is a Mixamo character. Okay, so I got this this mouse that I already got downloaded from Mixamo. This character here. All right, so I'm just bringing in the T-pose because I'm getting the animation from my mocap again. So download this guy in his T-pose, and then I'm just dragging the FBX file into this folder. You want him to have his own skeleton, so leave this blank. You want everything at the defaults here and import your mouse. All right, so importing our mouse friend. And skip all that. So here's our mouse brought into the scene. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go pretty quick. You can replay it back slower if you need to. So I'm going to do an IK rig for this guy. Where's my mouse mesh or mouse skeleton? And open this up. So first I'm going to go straight to the hips here and set that as my root. You don't have to do it first, but just don't forget to do it. Spine, spine, spine. I'm going to skip the neck. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start with the neck, then do the shoulders to the hand. Shoulders to the hand. Let's see, we got a leg. What did I grab there? Upper leg to the foot. Right leg to the foot. And right click. Make chains out of all those. I'm going to leave them. These namings are decent enough. Whoops. Did I misselect the top? Oh, shoot. I unselected those somehow. Okay, I do need a neck. I need a head. I need a spine. And I need arms. So let's try that. My finger must have slipped off control earlier. Alright, left shoulder side, right shoulder side. Okay, again, I didn't rename them on purpose. We'll see how it magically matches up. But, you know, probably for real, you should just name these consistently all the time. If you're yourself or you're working at a company, everybody should just name these. Just have standard naming conventions. But I like to leave it kind of messed up here so you can see what happens if you don't. Alright, so save and close the mouse. So now let's go back and since this character already has the retargeter set up, I can just swap out for the mouse in that retargeter. So I'm going to go the quick way. I'm just going to go to the outset. And here's my, where's my retarget? Right here, Manny retargeter. Reopen that. And instead of this character, I'm going to switch over to the mouse. And see how he, oh, that's right. We're just like I was talking about A pose to T pose business. We're going to have to fix that. But I'll leave it like this for the moment so you can see what happens. Then I'll show you how to fix it. All right. So first, let's just grab the jog in place and see if all our joints are. No, we've got some naming mismatching again. So let's go fix that really quick. I'm going to go into the mapping, spine to spine, neck, head, clavicle, right and right. So we need to make this the left. And let's see, the left leg is not quite right. And the right leg is not quite right. So now, all right, so he's inheriting the motion properly to the proper chains. But as you can see, his arms are a little, he's running a little cautiously. So let's match those up. Again, this goes back to the, I should find a better way to set him back to T-pose. If anybody knows of a handy way to do it without wiping out his stuff, without wiping this out. But since I do know that's all it is, you know, I can actually even just massage it in place here. I just hit edit pose. Oh, hey, that's all I needed right there. Thanks, myself. You don't have to wipe them out. Just hit that button. It puts them back in starting pose. That actually makes sense. That's handy. All right, so I'm going to grab this guy. I've already... I'm going to try and leave this on the snap so that I can set him exactly the same, hopefully. He's a little fatter than this guy, so I don't want him to run into himself. So maybe I will do both these. Not as much. Whoops. Come here. And technically, the elbows of the mannequin have a little bit more of a bend than the mouse. See, the mouse doesn't have any. So I'm going to come here and set a little rotate on that. We'll say 10 degrees. Sure. All right, we'll try this, see if it's good enough, and hit that button to finish. That's good. I learned something while teaching something. Great. So I'll hit play. I would maybe bend his elbows a little bit more. But anyway, that's all nitpicky stuff. You get the idea. You know, if I want all these to transfer to the mouse character, and just shift grab them all and hit export. And let's see, I don't have a folder yet for anim, so I'm going to make a new one here. And it's going to send all those over. Let's say, while that's happening, let's say you only did one, and then later you wanted to get one more. You don't have to use this interface to actually retarget your animations. You have to set it up here and have this retarget process, you know, your different IKs already set up. But let's say, I'll do it with the other guy to show you what I mean. So I'm going to close this. So here's my mouse anims folder. So now all of these animations are ready to be used in your short film or whatever you're doing with your mouse. Let's say, back to the idea of we only sent one animation over to this character in the beginning. Let's say we now we wanted, let's say we want to send a walk cycle in place. So we wanted to send one of these over to this character. You can do that the kind of old-fashioned way that you're used to in 4. So, or I mean, this is 5, so this is how you do it in 5 as well. You just right-click on the animation, go to retarget, and click this. So it's, so far, for those who've done this in 4, it looks very familiar until you hit this button, and then you say, oh, it's actually a little different. You actually just grab the retargeter that you've already created that you want to use. So I've got this one here, this Manny one. Oh, except it's set up for the mouse already. So just say, oh, you know what? I want to send it to that character instead. And you just say, where do you, this part's like the old days, where do you want it to go? It's always going to say game. You got to change this to send it, where is it? Way down here in this folder. And then, so that's where you're sending this copy of the animation. You hit retarget, and then it makes a copy down in there as well. All right, I think that is enough to get you started with retargeting. Again, in a little bit of review, all you got to do is have your character, and where's my character? Sorry, I should have just gone in there. So you need this, you need an IK rig for each character, your source and your target. Then you need to make a retargeter, and you can do everything we did in the video. So just go back, watch the video again if you need a little review. Cheers.